All right. Sorry, a little bit late of recording. We just went over ES. I'll go over it in a few minutes, so don't worry. Euro GBP, we don't use it to actually enter. We use it for our high time frame analysis. Again, if you are interested in how I use Euro GBP, then check out the London session. EU, we were expecting higher prices. EU was the stronger pair of the two between GU and EU. We were looking to trade GU, so here there was a small little entry here. We didn't catch it. Well, we did forecast it, but nothing was executed. Actually, nothing was live executed on here by me. Personally, I was only tape reading. I was saying what happened, etc. And again, the full story of how we get to our analysis, how we get to our entry is all done on the higher time frame. So all the hard work by us is done on the higher time frame. And this morning, again, we had a great session. So if you are interested in the full thought process on everything, then do check that out. GU, same thing, moving higher. We were expecting to come into this high. This is daily fair value gap. We're not rejecting away. So I am still expecting higher prices, especially since the dollar is obviously bearish right now. Then USD cut. This is where we got a live entry as well. And this is exactly what we were aiming for. We saw this fair value gap right here, this small fair value gap. We didn't displace away from that, completely fine. Then I expected price, because this is overlapping with another fair value gap, I expected price to come into this fair value gap, into this higher fair value gap, and then drop off. Now, although we did drop off, we didn't have any displacement yet. And I said, all right, in New York, we could displace lower if London leaves behind a fair value gap. Then New York will likely only be a retracement of what London did, and we might have seen a drop right here. If London didn't leave behind a fair value gap, then we could see a potential liquidity sweep on the highs and then a drop lower. So again, here we're seeing this swing high getting taken out right now. I am still expecting lower prices. We do have some sort of displacement here, but I'm still looking at the higher time frame picture, which was the daily right here. We came into it, and this day I would want to see the previous day low at least get swept. So this was the entry, and this was the first target, which we didn't manage to reach just yet, and this is the second target. So this would still be open for me. I wouldn't go break even simply because we didn't have a clear displacement. Again, same story. If London leaves behind a fair value gap, then it's likely a retracement. If it doesn't leave behind a fair value gap, it could sweep London and then continue lower. All right, then let's take a look at AU. This was the entry we were aiming for. We did have in mind this fair value gap, but again, same story. Because this fair value gap wasn't really overlapping with anything, we would want to enter off of this lower fair value gap, and it was in discount as well. So we missed this trade, but it's still playing out. So if you entered off of this fair value gap, then great job. Great job. All right, USD JPY was very ugly this morning. I told everyone that was there. We came into this 4-hour fair value gap. But then, as you can see, this wick on the lower time frame, that wick is this big price displacement, which happened in Asia. So because we already reached the draw on liquidity here, I wouldn't want to enter here. So we were right here in London, and we saw this displacement, but I told everyone I would not enter here. I would likely see lower prices because we already reached the draw on liquidity, and I wouldn't expect another move higher from here. And even though we have this trend line liquidity, that doesn't mean we can instantly buy. All right, so right here, we did come into this daily order block. This daily order block, but the daily order block is now not overlapping with any fair value gap. So this 4-hour is. So if we do see some shift in order flow, that would be awesome. We can take a look at that. Then for GBP cut, we expected higher prices as well. Well, initially we were looking at this weekly fair value gap right here as target. Then on the daily, we had this, whoa, is the volume imbalance? Or was it the 4-hour? I swear, if you go back and look at the London footage, there was a volume imbalance. Daily volume imbalance was right here. So we were looking at that, but it's magically gone. All right, no worries. So we did look at this fair value gap as well. And we expected price to trade into this fair value gap, potentially this daily CB, and then drop off later on. And once price, this was the daily volume imbalance, this gray area. So once we came above it, closed above it, I told everyone, all right, we might now see a retracement right here into this inversion level, because this is now support. Then we push higher. And here I would have likely, or I said, I want to see some kind of ST in New York if we do want to go lower. So this could be a potential ST, and I would want to get involved somewhere around here. All right, so this is playing out nicely. And as soon as we closed above here, above this volume imbalance, the daily volume imbalance, we were pretty sure and pretty certain on price trading into the daily fair value gap. Bitcoin, this was our entry on Bitcoin. Right here, we were in this daily fair value gap. Still, this monthly SIBI that we're aiming for. We were coming into this daily fair value gap. Then I dropped down into the 15-minute. We saw price ST, order flow getting respected, etc., etc. Then here we, in beginning of London, yeah, we saw this fair value gap form. Entry right in the fair value gap. We covered the breaker right here, and now it's displacing away, which is lovely to see. The target is right here, this very obvious SIBI with this trend line liquidity below it, and I think it will reach at least that and possibly even new highs, because we are expecting it to trade into the monthly SIBI right here. So let me go over ES again, just because I didn't record it. ES, we were looking at this 4-hour fair value gap. And from the 4-hour fair value gap, we dropped into the 5-minute. We mentioned this breaker. We entered right here. And pretty much even in London, we didn't record this part, but it hit TP pretty fast. So that's nice to see. Then NQ, NASDAQ, we didn't have any entry. Dow, we did have this entry, but it didn't come into any discount or premium rate. This was just for the sake of risk management, because I saw price coming into this 15-minute fair value gap with this breaker. It exploded away. Now it was close enough to the target, and I didn't really like price action here. So I told everyone, all right, I would want to go break even here if I was in a position. I wasn't in a position, but I just, for the sake of risk management, I told everyone, all right, I would want to go break even right here. So this would have tagged us out at break even and went off without us. Completely fine. It is what it is. Might have been a mismanaged by me again. Your risk management might be a little bit different. Mismanagement might be up for debate on my part, but it is what it is. Then on DAX, I think, did I record this already? I'm not sure. I'll just go over it one last time. On DAX, we were at the end of the session, we were expecting these lows to get swept and then move higher potentially. That's what happened. For the rest, DAX was very ugly, nothing really clear. Now, I mentioned not wanting to long DAX right now because I was a little bit uncertain on the dollar, which I'll go over again. And we were very high in premium. And I don't like to take a lot of buys in premium, of course. So again, if you want the full thought process behind it, then check out the London Zoom for sure. So dollar again, we saw it come into this mean threshold. It did close above, but it was not convincingly. So I said this morning, I'm just not certain. And if we do want to continue higher, I would like to see this fair value gap hold, 4-hour fair value gap hold, and push price higher, which it isn't doing currently. So currently I am bearish on dollar until we have another move higher, potentially above this high. Then I would look for longs again. But currently I'm still bearish on dollar, not trying to call a bottom. So yeah, DXY equal lows on the 4-hour were tapped into the FVG yesterday. This, or which are you saying? Right here? Yeah, I'm still expecting the dollar to go lower. Oh, a bit different. Oh yeah, might be the broker. All right, but yeah, I'm for now I'm expecting dollar to go lower. So if we take a look at the forex pairs first, because obviously New York is different for indices. So if we take a look at the forex pairs, what can we expect? Well, now it's time for me to do my analysis all over again. So I start back at a higher time frame and I take a new look daily. Of course, nothing much has changed, but the 4-hour will have changed. So if we look at the 4-hour, in about approximately 2 hours, we will close with this candle. What will that mean? Well, if this candle kind of sits here right now, we can expect the next candle to sweep this low and potentially come into this fair value gap it creates and then push higher until this fair value gap, until this fair value gap, until potential new highs. So the story is made on the higher time frame. Again, we need a new 4-hour higher time frame discount array now. I'm not going to sit here on the 15-minute and trying to chase this price and trying to long something off of here. Now, I do see this 15-minute fair value gap that I do like, but the story is done on the higher time frame, not on the 15-minute time frame. Again, because London was an expansion like this, I do expect New York to have some kind of retracement and then a push higher. But again, I would need a new 4-hour, at least a new 4-hour discount array, and then drop into the 5-minute, and then from there on, a possible entry. Same thing for GU. All right, GU, we have this breaker right now. We have this potentially, again, new fair value gap in the making. So we could see the exact same thing happening here and then drop down into the 5-minute and potentially see something like this into a 4-hour fair value gap and ST, etc. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Again, London expansion, New York might be retracement into something like this. But again, the story is not made on the 15-minute time frame. That's just extra headache and very difficult to do. USD cut, again, we went over it just now. I am expecting still lower prices on USD cut. It could take us out. Again, we talked about a potential loss right here. That will be completely fine, not too worried about it. Then I would expect something like this to happen. Now, this will be interesting. If we can have a proper risk management on this one, then that would be awesome. AU, still expecting higher prices. What was it again? Yeah, we came into this 4-hour daily. Yeah, daily fair value gap, 15-minute entry, ST, etc. Order flow, still looking for higher prices. Yeah, still looking for higher prices. Not the cleanest, because on the daily it's a little bit of a consolidation. So if you were to trade Forex right now, I would not trade AU, not the cleanest. USD JPY, same thing. I wouldn't trade USD JPY currently. The pairs that were very clean, in my opinion, this morning was what was it? USD cut and GBP cut. Those were the two pairs, and Bitcoin was all right. But GBP cut and USD cut were the most easy to trade because they had the easiest higher time frame. And if the higher time frame is pretty easy, then the rest, the execution also becomes easy, etc. USD JPY, if we can get some sort of maybe potentially we maybe sting down into this 4-hour fair value gap, who knows? If we can get some sort of ST order flow confirmation right here, that would be pretty cool. but I'm not too sure right now. GBP cut, this is the one where we said this is pretty clean because the higher time frame is pretty clean. We have this 4 weekly fair value gap to target. Then if we do want to continue lower, where are we likely going lower from? Well, we have this fair value gap. We talked about this breaker as well that could potentially overlap. Then this is a bit high up for me. So it is, of course, it could happen. But if we already reject right here, that wouldn't surprise me. So in order for us to enter, we would need a 15-minute ST. This is already a bullish fair value gap. So that's perfect. That's the first part of the ST. Next thing I would want to see is something like this. All right. And Bitcoin, we just went over this target, etc., etc. All right, a bit different for me. Capital.com. Let me take a look as well. DXY. Capital.com. Oh yeah, yeah, perfect equal lows. Yeah, nice. That's very clean. Looking 17 April, 2 a.m. 4 hour. Yeah, exactly. Looking for longs on EU into that VG for me. Nice, nice. 20 3, 4, and possibly failed. EU London open kill zone. Can you explain the delayed protraction? Since there was no SMT, I would have expected it to run the lows, but it just expanded higher. Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. Yeah, this is also something I talked about in the London session as well, I think. At least the main premise behind it. So because, and that's something I don't like personally, I just I just don't like it. I want, of course, I want a picture perfect London session that makes the low of the day, etc. But this will not happen all the time. And I'll show you what I mean. We came into this daily fair value gap, and the time we came into it was London close yesterday. So because we came into it in London close yesterday, this could be the low that makes higher prices, etc. So right here, you already have your ST, you already get your bullish order flow. Then it would be very unreasonable, or unreasonable, I don't know if it's the right word, but it would be, you wouldn't expect price to come all the way down here and then continue higher just because it's London. And this is not necessarily your fault that you think that, but it's mainly being taught that London should make the low of the day. So what a lot of people expect, they expect London to come all the way down here and then go higher. So that's just not something that happens a lot of times. What you'll mostly see, if this is already expanding away from a discount, so from a higher time frame discount array, that's very important, then London will likely be just a retracement and a push higher. Just those two equal lows right next to it before the expansion. This one right here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is basically because this order block, if we were to continue higher, where we likely continue higher from, just this order block. And what was your, can you explain delay protraction? So the delay protraction happened right here because this is an expansion, and midnight open didn't expand lower, then this is your delay protraction at 2 a.m. And although I did talk about it in London session as well, it's not really that necessary for you to know if it's a classic protraction or a delay protraction, because either way, you're getting your entry, if that makes sense. But yeah, this is basically because maybe you can see it more clear on the 5M as well, because this is 2 a.m. So 0 midnight open right here didn't really come below it. So then 2 a.m. could see a protraction into what midnight open created, and then a push higher, if that makes sense. Yeah, got it. Need to study. Yeah, for sure. No worries, no worries. You got it. You got it. You can always ask me, by the way, for just some more examples. I think GU as well had delay protraction, not that clean as EU, just this little wick with the delay protraction. All right, so now GU and EU is just basically waiting for a new 4-hour fair value gap to be created. And from there on, we can look for another trade. So if this candle closes right now, I want to see the next candle reject away. That's it. All the work is done on the higher time frame. USD cut. This is because we are actually in a trade. We can manage this trade, risk management, etc. So this is now sweeping the highs here. We could come into it higher. It could eventually take us out, but if it does want to continue lower, it will sweep these highs right here and then continue lower. And otherwise, the idea is flawed, and that's perfectly fine as well. AU, yeah, nothing much going on AU. Neither is USD JPY. Nothing much going on. Same here, just waiting for some sort of ST. I would personally probably place some kind of alert and just walk away and just check in a few minutes or something. Bitcoin just pushing higher, just perfect. Perfect, nice little trade right here. And then for ES is basically the same thing right now. I would want to see this candle close and then potentially after equities open as well, see equities open, do a Judas swing and then a move higher. But again, since equities open, since we're doing everything on the higher time frame, our story is on the higher time frame, the Judas swing on the lower time frame for equities open is not relevant. And this is the same thing we talked about as well, because we are closing now above this. Hopefully we are closing above this with this candle as well. That will make a fair value gap that's overlapping with this mitigation block. So a retracement into this mitigation block with the fair value gap would be perfect. And that would be a 5-minute entry. So I'll review that at the end of the day as well. Same for NASDAQ then probably. Yeah, same for NASDAQ. If we can get some sort of fair value gap right here. Boom, boom. Move lower, move higher. Clean. I like it. Dow is sweeping this high, but again, I would still expect the same thing. I wouldn't expect the Dow to continue all the way lower all of a sudden, even though we have this liquidity. But again, that's pretty useless and irrelevant if we don't have a high time frame story right now. So yeah, I would still expect higher prices. Again, same thing. We need a new higher time frame discount array. That's the first thing we need on some of these pairs. For DAX, same thing. We need a new higher time frame discount array, which we could see a fair value gap being created right here. And then we could see higher prices from there. This could even, if I look at a 4-hour, this could reach into this 4-hour fair value gap and then drop off, which is overlapping with this, what is it, daily breaker. So it might still sting into higher here and then drop off. Maybe even London close drop off, who knows? We'll just keep an eye out on that. But again, that's me speculating, and that's me guessing, essentially. That's just me sort of guessing and trying to predict. If we get an ST right here lower, then that's it. That's all I need. And it doesn't really matter where from, as long as it makes sense and we're coming off of some kind of higher time frame premium array. Bitcoin just pushing higher. I think it will take profit in the upcoming minutes or so. All right. Again, dollar, I don't study on the lower time frame, only the higher time frame. If I study the dollar on the lower time frame, I will get myself confused. A lot has been talked about in the London session as well. Same stuff, essentially. All right. Now, the thing is, I don't trade New York. The reason why, I focus all my energy on London, and when I go to the gym then after London, I'm basically, my head isn't all there, so I'm basically a little bit tired. Not really tired, but I'm just not in this fully deep state, this fully this flow state, this fully focused flow state. That's it. And that messes me up, and that's also seen from my data. If you do check my data or something, then you'll see that I used to trade both sessions, London and New York. And New York, I was always very shitty, especially since I tried trading DAX in London, and then I would switch to ES for New York, and it would just mess everything up. All right, all right. Yeah, and from here on, it's honestly just waiting, and that's what trading is. It's just waiting, waiting. It's just a waiting game. And the longer you stare at the screen, the more you will likely want to do and want to engage and want to mess up. And that's a very dangerous game to play. Again, this is just also just waiting. Just waiting. Nothing on USD/JPY. What is another pair we could look at just to fill in some time? Euro, isn't Euro CHF pretty tradable, right? Not sure. It doesn't look good. I don't like this. Ethereum. Let me just add it as well. Ethereum. Which one do I have right here? This is the Bybit thing, right? Yeah. This is spot. It's not the one I wanted. Yes. All right. Same story, I think, on Ethereum. Daily fair value gap, 15-minute. Did it provide the same entry? Oh, this is funny actually, because Ethereum, you would have been in a bit more drawdown. Your SL would have been, your stop loss would have been bigger as well. So this is something to take into account. We're seeing some volatility coming in. Nice. So in this case, Bitcoin was the better option to trade. Bitcoin hit our take profit right now. Perfect. All right, nice. GB cut again. If we can get some sort of ST right here, that would be great. So the next candles, and also aim for a mark structure shift, something like that. That would be awesome. Nothing on USD/JPY, nothing really on AU. USD cut, we're in this position right here, still managing this trade, and we expected a move higher because London gave no fair value gap. So if London doesn't give a fair value gap, then most likely New York will take out some London liquidity and then move lower. So this is a normal, this is still a healthy pullback in my opinion, not too worried about it. GU pushing higher again. We said on GU, because we are now pretty high up, we need a new 4-hour discount array for us to start looking at entries. So what most people do is they now, and that's where the struggle really comes in, really, because most people try to now study the 15-minute and start looking at potential pullbacks right here, and potentially this fair value gap or this fair value gap, and then basically a bit clueless. And if you just look at the higher time frame and just wait, and this is where a lot of people fuck up. The waiting part is where a lot of people fuck up. The waiting in between good setups. Finding a good setup is not that hard, but waiting for a good setup is the hard part. Now, right here, all our work is done on the higher time frame. So we are just simply waiting for a new 4-hour fair value gap, potentially a retracement back into it, and then we start looking for entries. Right here, we start looking for new entries, and that's it. And that makes things very easy on our side. And we only need to, if you think about it, we only need to think about the next 2 candles. That's it. And when you're trading only on the 15-minute or on the 5-minute or even 1 minute, some Twitter warriors, then you're going to get lost and very confused, I reckon. At least that's what I had. It's from my own experience as well. Same for EU right now. We were looking at this 15-minute fair value gap, but again, that's irrelevant because we need a new 4-hour discount array. So this 4-hour discount array could be an ST. As you can see, this ST forming off of this daily order block. And potentially this 4-hour ST could give an entry on the 5 minutes. So same thing. Euro GBP, not a pair that we're looking at for entries. DAX expecting higher prices. Is again, same thing. Dow, same thing. All right. This will be interesting to see as well with equities open, what it will do. And that's basically it for now. I think I'm starting to repeat myself. We've already done the majority of the work in the London session. So if you are interested, I think the London session was very beneficial and very good. We'll hopefully do them more often as well. And yeah, that's about it. So I'll probably make, or no, not probably, I'll for sure make a recap of today later today when everything is done. We've gone over what you can expect, what you can start looking for. So if you are planning on trading, then as well, don't take my advice as the holy grail. I am very often wrong as well. So just take that into account, manage your risk, don't start over trading, manage your psychology, etc. Very important. All right. And then I'll see everyone probably later today when we do an end of day recap. All right. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you. Bye-bye.